Hello, everyone, and welcome
Mhm.
to this new episode of the AfriTech Connect, where discussions unfold to explore the forefront of spatial technology, project management, inclusive leadership, and wellness within the vibrant AfriTech community, but also the Mauritian society. I would like to remind you all that the AfriTech Connect is a space for us all, and that you should take as much space as you need to. Just take it
Sure.
all because it's all yours. Today's core theme will be inclusive leadership, and the title of this episode is Cultivating Inclusive Leadership, Empowering through Mentorship. And I'm so excited to introduce the wonderful guest speaker with us tonight. Not only is she an inspiring woman within the Mauritian society, but she is also a very important member of the AfriTech community. Indeed, our
Thank
guest
you.
tonight was actually a mentor for the AfriTech Fellowship Cohort 2 and is a constant support to our community. With us tonight is Karuna Puri. Karuna is a seasoned leader with a rich career in various sectors with over 2 decades of experience. She started her career in New Delhi in eminent hotel brands. And back to her roots in Mauritius, she joined Domaine Les Pailles, where she won awards for the best fine dining restaurant with INDRA restaurant, and also the National Award for Most Supportive Manager by the Mauritius Quality Institute. Today, she is more involved in business facilitation while building and managing business relationships with consultants and project managers across various industries in Mauritius and across the region. She is actively engaged in mentoring entrepreneurs across Africa and the development of women-led projects by prioritizing women's uplifting, where their contribution is towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Karuna is also the director and founder of the company Roots Consult Limited, which values highly resonates in the philosophical sentence, we build relationship. Hello, Karuna. Thank you for being here with us
Hello,
tonight.
Anne-Gaëlle.
Do you have any introductory message for us tonight?
Yes. Good evening, Anne-Gaëlle, and good evening, viewers. Thank you to have me on board, Anne-Gaëlle, and I'm really honored because this is the first time I'm attending a webinar with AfriTech. And yes, and I'm so happy, to be here, and I thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, and we are very happy to have you here as well.
Thank you. Thank you. You spoke about roots. Can I say a few words?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Roots consult, in fact, it came in my mind while working on a project at the Pravasi Ghat, right? I was then in the construction sector. I was then the relationship manager for a construction company. And while working on that one day, I said to myself, I said, the day I start my company, I will name it Roots. Why Roots? Because when the lady was telling us the story of our ancestors, how they came on that big ship, how they landed there, how they crossed the sea, how they climbed those symbolic 16 stairs, and the first footprint that they put on the Mauritian soil. And that amazed me because I've got a strong story of my great-grandfather being a barrister and my grandfather being a barrister. And they fought for our freedom. They got bashed up by Britishers. They even built up the first school called Maheshwarnath at Tripoli, and the temple is there. And because they understood that education is primordial, like we say in French, it is very, very important to educate Mauritians of any colors, of any races. And they got under how do you call this, under the guidance of Mahatma Gandhi and Maninal Doctor, they finished their studies in law. And this is how they fought for our freedom and human rights, our legal rights, even for education rights. So I got so fascinated by all this, and this is how I named my company Roots Consult. That's it.
This is
From me.
really This is a real beautiful story. Thank you so much, Karuna, because I think it's really important, and I'm very
Thank
glad that
you.
you thought that it was really important to have this aspect inside
Yes.
your business. And I'm so grateful to have you here tonight and talking about this. And I think it's a really important point. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. And
Thank you.
actually, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, why roots? So I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
that you explained to us today why it's called roots. So to ensure clarity, I will just explain briefly to the viewers how this session will proceed. So we'll start by asking questions. So I will be asking Karuna questions that she will be responding accordingly. And following the initial set of questions, there will be an additional 10 to 15 minutes so that our guests tonight can interact with the audience. So if the audience have questions or comments, or if they would like to share about their own personal experience and career path, but also you're also invited to post question in the chat throughout the conversation as well if you feel like you might forget the question later on. Okay? So without further ado, Karuna, I will start this session by asking you what inspired you to become a mentor, and how has mentorship impacted your personal and professional journey?
This is a very interesting question. Anne-Gaëlle, it's always that urge to educate and uplift young women, seeking guidance, wanting to do new things, like learning new skills, like exploring new ideas, or even exploring challenges. And this is how I got to really get into mentorship, because I fight for the empowerment for the next generation of women. And we need to be represented in many fields as we can, because we should not lack any opportunities, and to be financially independent. And this is one thing which is very close to my heart, because I never got anyone to bring me to that level, what I'm doing now. I fought my ways on. I never had a smooth pathway in my life. I've worked hard throughout, right? And since I love growing, I'll tell you frankly, I love growing. And this is why I make sure that every woman, be it young or old, gets the right to grow on a mentorship program. For me, meeting different women of different ethnicities has helped me to expand my mind. And let me tell you one thing, even I have mentors. You won't believe it. Even I have mentors, because, at times I tend to lose my way. I tend to, think, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Am I on the right track? Because we are all human. We have flaws and we have imperfections. And I mentor, so I don't know if I'm doing things on the right path. So I normally pay to have a mentor. Mentors don't come freely. And this is why I admire, sorry, excuse me, AfriTech Fellowship, because you are giving so much to young women without, even, charging anyone. You're doing this freely for everyone. It's a beautiful platform for everyone to learn from you. Yeah.
Thank you
And
so much.
mentorship,
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
have a very bad quote. Mentorship is very good for your personal growth and your business growth. It brings you another dimension in life. This is why mentorship is beautiful, and I encourage everyone to be a mentor and a mentee.
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing this, Karuna. And I think you're right when you say that everybody should work towards being a mentee first and then being a mentor. And I think it's important to know that mentors doesn't necessarily come in the same shape all the time. It can be in
Yes.
different aspects of your life. So maybe you have mentors in your life, but you're not aware that they are called mentors. And I think
Yes.
you were talking about earlier when you started this to answer this question, you were talking about the urge to grow and keep learning. And I think it's a very powerful value to have, and I would say it's a strength because you're always getting more information and accepting that sometimes you need to unlearn to be able to relearn things. And I think it's really important to do that.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about inclusivity and diversity, how it's important to include everyone. And that will bring me actually to the second question, which is, so in your experience, what are the critical qualities of an effective mentor, especially in fostering inclusivity and diversity within the leadership?
First of all, I'll put it this way. I'm very frank about it. Mentors must have an understanding and appreciation of different cultures and backgrounds and perspectives. That allows them to engage with their mentees from diverse backgrounds
Mhm.
and create that inclusive environment. This is very, very important for a mentor. Secondly, active listening. A mentor, it's a big must for a mentor to listen to their mentees. Uh, Experiences, challenges, it can be anything that their mentees are going through, even their goals. Listen to them. Don't be biased so that you can help them, understand the unique needs also of each mentee you're going to really mentor on your program. And you can even tailor your mentorship program accordingly because every mentee has different abilities, different way of thinking, and coming from different ethnicities, it matters. So a mentor should be always grounded for that matter. This is one thing I really, this is my go-to kind of a thing. And a mentor also has to be very open-minded. When I say very open-minded, is to be receptive to new ideas and perspectives. Again, encourage diversity of thought and create that safe space for their mentees to express themselves without the fear of judgment. Let's be frank, Anne-Gaëlle, we live in a very judgmental society. And us as women, we tend to be judged at every angle. Even I am judged at every angle at my age, whatever I do. And when you're in business, you're a woman, you're in a cruel world that, people just judge you on your face. Maybe they don't like my face, so they start saying anything. So, but when you're a mentor, it's a different mindset altogether. Another point I would like to mention is clear and open communication is essential for building that trust between a mentor and a mentee. That's very, very important. That you should master it if you don't have it much. Mentors should not forget one thing, that they have to grow. They have an ongoing process to grow themselves, to learn. They have to continuously educate themselves about diversity issues and seek opportunities to improve their cultural competence and inclusive leadership skills. Mentors respect and celebrate the differences among mentees. This is very important. If you can't do this, you can't mentor. You will not be able to accept being a mentee to a mentor, or you will not be able to even mentor a mentee. This is one thing. And like when you have this, it brings out the best in the mentee. And that diversity enriches any organizations and enhances this decision making for the mentees who are working in the corporate world or the private sector or even running their own businesses.
Feel we are constantly judged. And one thing that we've seen with AfriTech is that oftentimes we feel judged, we are judged, and but the
Yeah.
thing is, we feel like we are alone in it. We feel like it's only happening to us. And I think a mentor, but also the support system in general around us can help us in that aspect because it shows us that you're not alone leading this and there is other people like you and there is going to be other people in the future and there was people in the past that were judged just like you are right now. So take their experience and see how you can apply it. And I think that's one point that
Yeah.
mentorship can really help. And I think I really want to underline this aspect that you said about context. Sometimes we live in a society, like you said, that we are judged, but we also often compared to each other. Either it is people comparing us, or we ourselves compare ourselves to other people. And I think, as you say, one of the core um, qualities that a mentor should have is that they should be able to see that each one of their mentees are very different. They are unique. They have their own context. They have their own life. They have their own experience and career path. And that each one thing that works for one person doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. And also
Definitely.
carry forward with that. And as you
Yes.
said, you spoke very highly of how mentorship can actually really help people grow and transform their life. And I think you're right, because I have seen firsthand what mentorship can actually do to people, but also to myself. I've been mentored throughout my life by different people. At some point, I was mentored without even knowing I was being mentored. And when I learned about it, I was like, oh, okay, I think it was mentorship, but I just didn't know about those weird words that just didn't sound right to me. So, in your experience, maybe could you share a memorable mentorship experience in which you witness like significant growth or transformation in both the mentors and the mentee?
Before I jump to this question, I wanted to say something, if you allow me, because
Yeah, go
here we are
ahead.
in a conversation, and
Yes,
you're getting me. I'm getting the appetite of talking. Like
go
it's
ahead.
sharing. Like I love sharing and I love talking. People who know me, they say, Karuna, you're a chatterbox. It's impossible with you, because once I get passionate about a topic, I keep talking and talking and talking. So I think I'm trying to tame myself. But one
No,
thing I
no.
would mention is,
I said
hmm,
earlier that it is a space for you, so you should take as much
thank
space as
you.
you need. Go ahead.
Thank you. Effective mentors should be, always accessible and approachable. I understand there should be boundaries between a mentor and a mentee for respect. Because at times I have seen, not with me, but I have seen other mentors, being disrespected by their mentees.
Mm,
Like, the mentees not showing up, not taking their call. The mentors keep sending messages and they don't respond. But a mentor, can't say, I don't have time. I don't
mhm,
have time right now. Call me, or you can say, okay, I'm in a meeting. Please send me a message. I'll get back to you. Or,
mhm,
at least you give respect to that relationship, because it is a sacred bond. Believe me, it's not only something which is now, but it remains
mhm.
for years. Till you die, you will remember that person. If you remember.
Yeah, I think you're right,
Now,
because when you said that someone can contact you, and we're not asking mentors to be robots, that they always need to be
yeah,
at the beck and calls of
yeah,
everyone when they are saying like, "Oh, can you help me?" But I think just acknowledging someone, like you said, just reply to
yeah,
them and being
yeah.
respectful and saying that, "Listen, I am not free right now, but can we talk about this later?" And I'm sure I will have
Mhm.
ample
Yeah,
time to talk to you about this subject. So yeah, go ahead.
sure. So, my experience, that was the first mentor I got. I was in a mentoring program by AMFC, is Association Mauritienne des Femmes Chefs d'Entreprise. They work a lot with Embassy of Australia and US, like programs like Business Without Borders, and you have women Academy of Women Entrepreneurs, where they have mentoring programs. And being a member of IMFC, I was approached to mentor a mentee, a young girl. She is now, I think, 28 or 29 now. And I said, okay, I will jump on that mentoring program. So normally what they do, they send you all the contact details by email and the phone number, so that you can contact the person if you want to meet that person before the official launching and before they assign you a mentee.
Mhm.
Am I going too fast for all of you, or is it okay? Is it okay if I go slow or faster? Is it fine the way I'm going? I get a feeling that I'm talking a bit too fast.
No, it's okay.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, Geshna.
So what happens is I get a mentee. I had like my fingers were itching to call her, so I called her. I said, okay, let's have a coffee connect at Jumbo, at the Vita Cafe. I called her. I said, please come and let's have a chat and before the official launch. And as it is, well, the official launch is quite something which is very formal. I said, let's be informal, let's talk and let's know each other. While sitting and sitting and having my coffee, I saw a beautiful girl with lovely hair coming in front of me, and I was just looking at her, and she looked so confident. I said, why does she need mentorship? She's looking so prim and proper and so well maintained, lovely nails, lovely hands, lovely hair. Why do I need to mentor her? And she was like quite nervous when she saw me because I know my black specs tend to make people a bit shy. People
Mhm.
have told me that I've got a stern face, but it's not that. I'm very easygoing kind of a person. And we started talking. I could see that she was a bit, kind of not wanting to talk much. And she said, yeah, I was forced by my aunt to go this program, but you see, I don't have time. But what to do? So I'm going to join it anyways. So I offered her a cup of coffee as well. And whilst talking, before we started talking, and I introduced myself, I told her a few things. Like I cracked jokes, and when she started laughing, I realized I diffused a situation with her. I diffused that, shyness and that, what she didn't want to open up. And then when she started talking and Gael, she told me she just lost her mother. And
Oh.
she just left her job. She was a financial analyst. She just left her job. She lost her mother. And like I went all, I didn't know how to react, you know. I
Mhm.
became pale. I said, I'm sorry for your loss. And I could see that she was like face blank. Maybe she cried so much that there was no tears. And she says, it's okay. I'm trying to live with it. And this is what I'm doing. And then we started talking. She spoke a bit about her mother. She showed me pictures of her mother, and and she regrets that her mother died when she came back from work and she was sleeping. In her sleep, her mother passed away from a heart attack or something.
Mm.
But when, she started talking about herself, I saw that fierce passion of building her own business. She says, I'm getting so much from finances. I don't want that. I want to be my own boss. I want to do this business. Can you help me? I was told mentors are here to guide us. I said, yes, I can help you. I said, this mentoring program is an AI program, which is full pathway till the end. But a mentor will be doing a hand holding with you. Anything that you want to talk about, please feel free. And this is how, and during the program, we had the official launch and all. And she says, okay, this is my letter. I've written all my witnesses because I can't talk to you right now. I don't feel like appropriate to tell you my witnesses. Please go through it so that you're prepared, to mentor me. And she was very categoric on this, so that you're prepared to mentor me. It was kind of, she made me understand that she has a problem of time management. This is how I got a feeling. And she is not easy to cope with because she had already opened a business. But after that, I made sure that, we kept in touch. I keep sending her messages on WhatsApp. She would respond. And whenever she would ask me questions, I realized that she needed to hear a podcast, a specific mentor, because mentors, they're not only physical, they're also virtual mentors. and I love listening to mentors online as well, because I get so, I learn so much from them, like, so I would send her one or two and tell her things. I would make sure I would meet her, though I was not supposed to do it, but I would meet her 3 to 4 times in a week. And when the days were running short, so I would sit down with her, and she had a problem with time management, really. And I would teach her, and I would be patient with her. I would wait for her to finish with her clients. And, she would serve me endless coffees and biscuits, and, uh, and just wait for her. And then we stopped working. And, one day she told me exactly, she says, Karuna, when I talk to you, you remind me of my mother. I said, okay, that's great. So I may be in the age of your mother, so consider me as one. Adopt me as your mother. And, we started on like this. And let me tell you one thing, when she graduated, we went on, we did the feasibility. I called up an accountant to help us with the feasibility, because I am not a financial person. So a mentor doesn't know a lot of things. So I had to ask help from a financial person to do her feasibility in her business plan. And when she graduated, Anne-Gaëlle, she gave such a beautiful testimonial. I had tears in my eyes. I just couldn't believe it. It's like, what I did, how I took that person. And when everybody stood up and clapped their hands, I was like, oh my goodness, what's happening? Until date, we are very good friends. You won't believe it. She's a nail tech, she calls herself, and her nail lounge is doing very well. She's got a very good PR, and she really, really captured the corporate ladies with her. So she's minting more money than when she was working. That's the beautiful story I have to share. My first mentee, but I can never forget this.
It's a very beautiful and heartwarming history. And I think it's we were talking about, I think it was one of the AfriTech Connect episode, when someone said that sometimes we don't even know we need a mentor, and it just kind of happened to us, and it starts out of the blue. And the thing is that what that person needed right there at that moment was you. Nobody else could
Yeah,
have fit in
yeah,
that position. And I think that's great how the universe works to make this happen. And also how herself, she knew exactly what she wanted. And you knew what she wanted, but you also knew what she needed, and you helped her
yes,
to grow. And that was a
yeah.
wonderful transformation. And I feel like, actually, I think I met her because she was at trampoline with you, right? When we met.
Yes, that's
So
it,
it
Tisha.
makes
Yes,
it
Tisha, you
even
remember her.
even yeah, it makes it even better now to see how it grows and how transformation can really happen with mentorship. And thank you so much for all this work you're doing and in your community, and how you're impacting
Thank
so
you.
many people. Thank you. And as you
Most
said,
welcome.
you work with a lot of organizations, but also programs that talk about mentorship and how mentorship is important, but also inclusive leadership. So, from your point of view, maybe how should organization, or how can organizations create an inclusive mentorship culture that ensures equal opportunities for all individuals, regardless of a background or identity?
First and foremost is to provide training to mentors and mentees on diversity, equity, and inclusion topics, which will help them understand unconscious biases and promote inclusive behaviors in companies. This is, I can say one thing. I see a lot of organization now, better late than never, like we say. I see them now realizing that that diversity and equity and inclusion is now a big must for them, because they have realized that working with women of any age, any ethnicity, of any background matters for them. So this is, one thing, I'm glad to say this, because I went for a talk at Medellin last time, and listening to the CEOs, and I was so happy. I said, My goodness, after so much fight, women were fighting for ages and ages, just to bring that freedom for young women, for new generation to come, because we are fading. I'm like, maybe you can say like, maybe one day I won't be here, but I know at least people are going and on their way on. And this is why they should ensure that there's an alignment with the organization goals and values for women. This inclusivity is very, very important. To have mentors represent diverse backgrounds, experiences, and identities, it's a big must. This allows mentees to find mentors who they can connect with and understand their unique challenges. Not every mentee can connect with a mentor. Sometimes colors and races matters a lot. I say it this way, please don't get me wrong. It could be that I'm from another community, but I don't want to talk to this mentor because that mentor is from another community and she will not be able to understand what I go through in my community, and it is for the organization to bring that together, and this is why I say provide training for that, to make mentors and mentees be, to have a different mindset altogether. Uh, Holding mentors and mentees accountable for upholding the values of the company, inclusivity and diversity within the mentor relationship is a big must. I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I believe solidly in it. And yes,
I do.
storytelling. Storytelling. I will die saying storytelling. Your story matters. Your voice matters. And you matter. Telling your stories. And, the organization should encourage the mentors and the mentees when they're connecting, when they're connecting, that little bit space that they've had, that safe space, tell the story, be accountable for the story, and record the stories. Have a podcast in that company, make them talk. It's a beautiful relationship between mentee and mentor. So have them accountable, because this will remain in the archive of the company, and this will be lessons for others to come and to go through. And I think organizations should do something on that that serves as inspiration for others. This is what I think, and this is what I'm telling you.
Thank you so much, Karuna. And for me, storytelling, I think it's definitely one word that can definitely give a big twist to anything that you're doing because it shows empathy. It also shows that you're not, as I said earlier, that you're not alone in what you're doing. And you said earlier that you would like to excuse yourself for saying that some people maybe you don't want to talk to some people because of community or races or different
Yeah.
reasons. And I think you should not excuse yourself because some people actually say that, for example, I would say some people would say, oh, I don't see colors. But not seeing colors doesn't mean that you're not racist or that you accept all races. For me, you need to
Definitely.
be aware that those societal biases exist and see how you can actually address them at your organizational level, but also at your personal level, in your community, at different levels. I think saying that those things doesn't really exist is a mistake in itself because you need to be able to address something, you need to be aware that it's actually happening and that it's here and that we should not hide it anymore. And I think that's something that we hopefully will see less and less in the future, where people will still be hiding under the I don't
Cross
see
fingers.
colors. Yes, I really hope
Cross
so.
fingers.
Because this is definitely something that helps. And I think it is definitely something that would refrain someone from going to ask for help or actually having a mentor because they don't know if they are allowed. I would say, I know it's a very bad word, but they don't know that they are allowed to have this or that they can have this opportunity. And I think it's really, really important to make them aware that it's actually the case. They can. And that actually brings me to the next question, when I would actually want to know, what would be your advice? What would be your advice that you would give to individuals seeking mentorship, but particularly those from underrepresented groups, to navigate and thrive in their careers?
Here again, I'll ask you, can I come to this topic in 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to say something. You
Yes.
know, we are so lucky. We are so lucky to belong to a country like Mauritius. We
Yeah.
are multicultural, diversity. We are melting pots of colors, and we are so intertwined. We have so much of peace. We have so much of hospitality within us, and the love that we all have towards each community. Keep that; it's sacred.
Hmm.
Never criticize other communities because we belong to one nation. Like we
Yeah.
say, and celebrate and cell nation in Creole. I believe so much in this as one people, as one nation.
Yes.
I am of maybe some other faith, but I've taught my son, who my husband is Indian, but I taught my son, when he was small, I took him to a church. I took him to everywhere and explained to him how you need to embrace diversity.
Hmm.
How you need to embrace everyone in their own cultures and respect. Do not shame people or call them names. Do not listen to others because let me tell you one thing. Why today we are having difficulties in connecting with people? Let's be frank, it's from our background because
Hmm.
our parents have taught us, don't go and meet this person from this car or this village or this, how do you call it, any names. And we
Hmm.
grew up with limited beliefs. Young women today should break that, bias because we are one people. And let me
Hmm.
tell you one thing, wherever I'm invited, like last Sunday, I was invited for an Eid celebration in a masjid, in a mosque. For certain women called us because we are mentors of certain community. They called us to come and meet other women, and I learned so much from them. I didn't know anything about their religion, what really women do in a mosque, and they explained to us, how for them cultural diversity and everything matters for them. This is why we say we are so lucky. Do not kill that beauty that we have in us. Let's always be together, hand in hands,
Yeah.
because AfriTech is women. I mentor women. It's a sisterhood call here. And I make
Yes.
an appeal to all mentees and mentors. Keep your differences aside and be open minded. When we
Hmm.
are open minded, we can really bring the best out of that person. Because being mature myself, right? And why am I here as a mentor? Because not because I'm an entrepreneur, not because I'm facing problems. I realize it is my calling now. And after that, I realized maybe it's in my DNA to educate. Maybe the universe wants me to do so. Maybe my grandparents wanted me to do so. I had so many bricks and bats in my life. I never had a mentor. Like I told you, I have to pay to get a mentor to teach me. But then, I realized that young women coming up, they should be different from us. They should talk to their parents in a very diplomatic way. Do not pollute their minds, please. Limited beliefs, keep it away. And I taught my son to be, as good to everyone because we need each other. This is why we are beautiful as a community.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think it's someone that said to me once, and it was so true. That person told me, no kid is born in this world being a racist or not liking
Yes,
someone. They grow up to be so. So I think, as you said, parents have a big role to play, but also the society that we
yes.
surround ourselves with. So yes, thank you.
Now to your next question, I had to write it down. I'm sorry, Anne-Gaëlle, there was so much I had to write down to be able to talk because I can't memorize everything. You know, what advice would you like to give to individuals seeking mentorship particularly those from the underrepresented groups, to navigate and thrive in their careers. When you mention underrepresented groups, what I hear from this word, what I understand from this word is also those with from different groups, like, it could be someone with some, what do you call it, special needs, someone
Mm-hmm.
with special needs. It could be from the LGBT group. It could be anyone, because this is why we call them underrepresented,
Underrepresented.
right?
Yeah.
And they have the right for mentorship as well. Why not? It's for everyone. It's their right. It's their human right. It's the birthright to get education as everyone. I understand now that there are a lot of efforts being made. It's not enough. Yes, from our leaders, it's not enough. But we as mentors, uh, for, for what advice I would give: look for mentors who have experience and insights relevant to your career goals. This is very important. Challenges necessarily have from the same background as you, like I mentioned a few minutes back, but finding someone who understands the unique obstacles you face can be incredibly beneficial. This is my take on this first. Approach potential mentors respectfully and genuinely, because here you're building a relationship on trust and mutual respect. Never forget this.
Mm.
Again, I say it's a sacred bond. It's like a teacher. A mentor is also a teacher, in a way, whether it is for your personal life or your business growth or your personal growth. Attend industry events. Networking is very important, right? And join professional groups. I am not marketing myself, but yes, there are plenty of professional groups. Engage in networking opportunities and connect with potential mentors. Mentors can come under any forms. Mentors doesn't have to be over 40, over 50, over 60. It could be a girl of 25 years old mentoring
Mm-mm.
someone.
Mm-mm.
And Anne-Gaëlle, let's be frank. In school, like, say, suppose we've had a love problem, we talk to
Mm-hmm.
someone that we trust. So that person
Yes.
tells you how to go about it. It's already a mentoring process going on.
Mm-mm.
How you take it, it's up to you. So this is how I think about what you just asked before. Before approaching a mentor, have a clear understanding of what you want out of that mentoring. You need to know your goals and career advance. If you want to advance in your career, you need to ask whatever you want. You need to know exactly what you want from that relationship. Because without you knowing, okay, I don't know, I'm coming to you because I was told to come to you, doesn't make things easier for the mentor. At
Mm-mm.
least you need to have clear goals. You need to be clear in your head what you want exactly to be mentored about. Is it about your career path? Is it about your skill development? Is it about a guidance? Is it about a home problem that you're facing, problem with your parents, and you have no one to talk? It could be anything. It could be anything. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, definitely. I think you're right. As I said earlier, maybe sometimes we don't realize. So we don't realize that those people are mentors until later that oh, so this is called mentorship. So I think you're completely right when you say that they can come in all form and shapes, and it's important to know that everybody has the right to have this. And before we open the floor for questions, I have one last question to ask. So maybe if you can briefly tell us, in your opinion, what are some common challenges or barriers in implementing successful mentorship programs, and how can they be overcome to promote diversity and inclusivity in leadership roles?
One thing I forgot to tell you before we go to the other question, you will be thinking that, Karuna, what is wrong with you? You keep stopping me. One thing I wrote: One thing I wrote, when you're having a mentee relationship, a mentee should not forget one thing: give back.
Yeah.
Give back, because mentorship is a two-way traffic, right? As you progress in your career, don't forget considering giving back to others when you are already, struggling in your career path or in your
Mm-mm.
life. So giving back is you're creating a chain of humanity, and you're creating a chain of mentoring. Like, mentoring should not be a paying thing. It should come from your heart. You're giving
Yeah.
back, because you never know what this person is going through. You could be saving a life of someone. I
Mm-hmm.
remember, I've got a friend who's she's an associate professor at the university. She was coming to her class, and she crossed a girl walking, and she says there was something really wrong with that girl. She asked that girl, "Where are you going?" Instead of going to your class, where are you going? The girl said to the professor, "I'm going to commit suicide." The
Ooh.
professor got panicky for a minute, and said, "Okay, I'm coming with you." So when she said, "I'm coming with you," that girl looked at her, like, "What's happening? Why is she coming with me to commit suicide?" And then while talking, she could understand what was the problem of that girl. So this is why I say give back, because you never know who you're saving in life.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're
Yeah.
right when you say this because, and it's very impactful here when you're talking about that person going to commit a suicide, and that one person was exactly, again, exactly what that person needed at that time. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
it can be as big as this one, or sometimes it can be as small as when you said, when you have a broken heart and you go to confess to your best friend, and that person knows you very well, and they know exactly what you want to hear, but they also know what you need to hear. So I think it's really important to acknowledge those mentors and support system that surrounds us.
For me, there are things I can't even tell my husband. So I look for a friend. Like we
Hmm.
say, call a lifeline. I go to
Yeah.
someone and I listen. I listen. You need to have humility in you, whether you're a mentor,
Yes.
whether you're a mentee. Humility, be grounded. And I love that, Anne-Gaëlle, when you started the session, you started with a grounding session. And I must say, I followed what you are doing, and I did tell someone the other day. I said, when you're starting your mentoring program or your coaching, do grounding. And he was looking, this is, Karuna, you're talking a bit nonsense. And then one day when he met me after, he says, you were so right. Where did you learn this? I told him from AfriTech Fellowship. I said,
Ah, that's
when
nice.
I went there, I said, I learned this. And it is very good to connect, to be grounded, to be connected to the earth. And
Hmm.
once you do this and the breathing techniques that you're giving, you're creating mindfulness
Hmm.
with the team, with the audience, which is, I admire you on doing this, Angai. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Opinion, what are some common challenges or
Yeah.
barriers in implementing successful mentorship programs, and how they can be overcome to promote diversity and inclusivity in leadership roles? First of all, implement structured mentoring programs
Mm-mm.
that are accessible to all employees, regardless of their background or position within the organization. Second, ensure that mentorship opportunities are advertised widely and encourage your employees at every level to participate. This is at the senior management, middle management to do that. Encourage your staff, encourage your employees at every level. The CEO, the CHRO, the HR, or
Mm-mm.
all those who are the key position to understand that they should encourage. Encouraging doesn't mean, oh, you have to go to this class, go for that. No, 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 no. At least, meet that person, over when they're having their lunch, or maybe a one-to-one talk, or maybe a group talk and say, this is what we want to do, and we encourage you to go. You will see yourself, you will grow. And if CEOs, CFOs, COOs, CHROs, they do this, you will see the place will become a better place to to live, because I say live because 3/4 of our time is in our office and
Mm-hmm.
1/4 is at home. And this is why I say, you work, yes, but you need to be in accordance to the work culture as well. Because if you're not good in your skin, you will not be productive. And this is the role of a leader, to make sure that all his employees or her employees are being taken care of, be it whatever opportunities. Encourage senior leaders from diverse backgrounds to serve as mentors. This is very important, and as role models. Establish mentorship networks to provide guidance and support. You know, so many people say, where where will I get mentors? But they're already leaders. They're already running a corporate or a private company. They can be mentors. They went through a learning process. So,
Mm-hmm.
and bringing the diverse backgrounds, it can be women, it can be men, that will really help, employees to see things differently, help them grow better. Because remember one thing, your assets are your people. The more you care for them, the more you're giving them, you're encouraging them to grow in their career path. You don't have to lose them, you see, instead of putting so much of stress on them. And foster a culture of inclusion and mentorship at all levels in the organization through leadership support, communication, and recognition of successful mentorship outcomes. Communication is very, very important at every level,
Mm-hmm.
top to bottom, bottom to top. Very important. Without communication, there will be fear. There will be, a lot of things coming up. So this is why communication is one part of that common challenge that we all face in
Mm-hmm.
many industries. Integrate diversity and inclusion goals into organizational values and strategic initiatives. The other day, that was last week, I was listening to a few CEOs in the financial sector. And in business, it's much more a man-made world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a world for women. And when I heard that man talking, he was so humble and grounded. I guess because when he related a bit of his life, you could see that this man went through a lot of problems himself when he started his career path. So, and then, he works with a lot of women, because now you will see that women have embraced the legal world, the financial world, the compliance world. So every financial, they have their own legal and compliance, and mostly are the women. So this is what he mentioned, and I noted it down, just to talk about this today. That, like integrate diversity and inclusion goals. And I wrote it down, and I said, "Man, how beautifully put by a man," you know. And the last one I wrote down is regularly collect feedbacks from participants to assess program effectiveness and identify areas of improvement. When he said that, I was, really typing on my mobile, and he was looking at me. Maybe he thought, I was chatting or something, but I was writing notes just to share with you today. And I just wrote this down.
Thank you so much, Karuna. And I like that you talk about communication, because that's one of the values that is really important to me in my personal, but also in my professional life. And it's really, really important indeed. But also, I like that you talked about advertising it, but at
Yeah.
every levels, because sometimes
Yes.
we think that we are targeting the right people when we are sharing it at one level, but when we share it on a broader level, then we can actually target as much people as we can. And I think it's really
Yes.
important to do that, because as we said earlier, there are underrepresented groups that would actually go missing if they would miss this opportunity if they did not have access
Yes.
to the information that those mentors were actually available to them. So I think having this advertising at different levels is quite important. So I see that there is I don't know if you have something to add, Karuna, but I've seen a message from Priscilla Irana in the chat. Can I take it
Please
up?
go ahead. Yes, please.
So,
After that, I'll say a few things.
okay.
Yeah.
So there's Priscilla that is saying, "Hi ladies, thanks for this. Been cooking dinner for the family, so could only use my ears up
Wow.
till now." And her question is, so looking for a mentor requires a certain degree of self-analysis and self-awareness. This may be a silly question, but I wonder, how do you tell someone, "Hey buddy, you really need a mentor," without having to point out flaws in the person's interaction? And other comment that she has is, I have is that we need to be okay in recognizing that we can sometimes make mistakes in the mentors we choose, and that it is okay to move on to people who can be better fits as we grow. Do you want to reply to this, Kauna?
Absolutely. Maybe I'll reply part of it. I just said a few minutes back that some people cannot relate to a mentor. It's okay. It's fine. You can tell that mentor you're not comfortable about it. I had such a case, in fact. There was a girl who she found her mentor a bit too snooty and who was a bit too Frenchy. So she needed someone who was more towards her kind of personality. And this
Mm-hmm.
is how I was referred to her. So it's okay to not to be able to be with the mentor, because I can understand, sometimes that what do you call that, relationship doesn't work. And I don't know if I've answered your question properly, Priscilla, and you can correct me if you want to. And secondly, if your buddy, if you feel that the person needs a mentoring, you need to question that person first, just, by an informal chat over a lunch or coffee or tea or just over a wine. Ask that person, what do you feel about this? And you keep a note, you can note it on your mobile or you can note it somewhere. And then you can refer that person and say, okay, I seriously feel that you need help somewhere. And I want you to be open-minded to, or have an open mind towards what I'm saying. You need help, buddy. And I'm here as your friend. I'll be here to surround you. But you need someone, who has an expertise to guide you further. I am your friend, yes, but I am limited by this.
Mm-hmm.
By doing so, maybe that person might be offended, but it's okay. Let that person diffuse, or maybe that person will think it over the night. Lanui pot conseil. Maybe then the person might come to you, or maybe that person can say, okay, yes, I think you're right. I think I should
Mm-hmm.
go and meet someone. It's okay to talk it frankly, or if you can't talk it frankly, just try to taper les poux, comme on dit. Just try to see different ways of diffusing that situation, of not hurting the emotion of that person. Is it okay, Priscilla?
Yes, I think
How can
you
one choose
summed
and
up.
have access to maintenance?
So yeah, Kauna, I think you summed up what Priscilla was really well. And I think what is important, like you said earlier, communication is key at every level. And
Yeah.
when you're approaching someone, we need to remember that we also live in a society that is always telling us
Yes.
that what we're doing is not enough, or that you should not be asking for help. You should be able to stand on your own. So we live in a society that tells
Yeah.
us that asking for help means weakness. So it's
No.
sometimes normal that people will
No.
react in a way that they feel attacked, or that they feel that that person is attacking themselves, but it's not what it means.
Yes.
It's important that you tell that person that asking for help is actually strong, because it's a strength that you're showing up, because the fact that you've been able to
Yes.
acknowledge that you actually need help for that thing, because for now you have a limitation, but maybe in the future you will have so much knowledge about this thing that you will be able to help somebody else. So I think communication is
Definitely.
key, but also making that person
Definitely.
understand that having help is not a bad thing. So we have more
It's not
questions
at
in the
all. It's not a
chat.
weakness.
Yes, definitely. So we have questions from Geshna in the chat, who's saying, How can one
Yes.
choose and have access to a mentor in Mauritius, especially as a young woman? And also, if there is one podcast that you would recommend.
Mentors, Geshna AfriTech Fellowship. You need a mentor, they have mentors. Contact one of them. I'm sure, Anne-Gaëlle, you have some mentors where you can refer to someone who stays abroad. And mentors do not, let me tell you one thing, mentors do not have to be degree holders or diploma holders or PhDs or MBAs or 4 degrees or 5 degrees. That person with the experience of life, the expertise they have, the bricks and bats they face in their lives, the rocky roads they've walked, you need that wisdom. This is what makes you a mentor. It could be an uneducated person as a mentor. I mean, when I say uneducated, I mean to say they didn't go for, tertiary education. Lately I started reading a bit about Talk Reeves. I don't know if I spelled the name right. Keanu Reeves. And when he talks, because he's gone through a lot, and he mentors a lot of people on the roads. Believe me, this person didn't go for higher studies. There are so many people who didn't have the chance to go for higher studies. So when you're picking up a mentor, don't look for highly educated or don't look under. Just look for the right person to, where that person will understand you. And what you need in a mentor, that wisdom, that person to guide you, that, that light obudichinelle, that, like we call it, that star who will guide you. It's like hand holding you.
Mhm.
Right? Look for that person. Don't look for highly educated, because highly educated, tends to be a bit more, maybe they won't have time, they can have time. It depends on how they're giving their time, you see. And the second question was what, please,
If there is a
Angai? The second
if there
question
is a
was?
podcast that you could recommend.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. Now it depends in which field you are, what kind of podcast you love listening. For me, I don't know if you have heard about Brené Brown. Brené Brown, you listen to her, she will give you tremendous golden nuggets. I am fascinated by Tony Robbins and Dick Graziosi because these two guys, they were boys who went through hell. They had alcoholic parents, mothers in drugs. They didn't have food in their house. Today, they mentor you from their heart and they mentor you from the fire they have in themselves, and when they talk to you, they're talking out of their souls and out of themselves, of all the experiences they go through. Tony Robbins was not someone highly educated, but he learned to grow because he had good mentors at that time. One thing we say, don't wait for freebies. Spend that money and go and get something for your growth. There's Mel Robbins. I don't know if you're connected with Mel Robbins, right? She's also very grounded and she teaches you a lot. Now, if you're in the corporate sector, is Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is the C-suite guy to listen to, right? And these are the people I listen mostly. And there's also Valerie Burton, if you can listen to her. She is amazing. She will give you amazing tips. You don't have to choose one virtual mentor. Listen to a few. Make your notes. Whenever you're listening to a virtual mentor, either with your glass of wine by your side or with your cup of coffee by your side, have your notepad and a pen.
Mhm.
Imbibe what they're telling you. Write. Keep writing, keep journaling, keep writing, keep a journal for the morning, the evening. And whosoever you listen, take what they're giving you, grab the golden nuggets that they're giving. 3/4 may be rubbish, but 1/4 you will keep in mind. So don't choose only one or two. Listen to a few and then choose who you want to connect with.
Mm.
This is what I do basically. I connect a lot with Brené Brown, Valerie Burton, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. In the morning, I was listening to Dean Graziosi and I cried. I cried. And I can tell you I'm a very emotional person. And I don't take it as a weakness because My brothers used to tell me, at times you get too emotional and you cry, you embarrass us. I don't give a damn anymore. Now you think whatever you want. But when I was listening to him, I went through the same situation. If I'm allowed to speak one thing, Anne-Gaëlle, I want to share something as an entrepreneur. I did not become entrepreneur because I wanted to become entrepreneur. I became entrepreneur by default. With 20 years of career, I lost my job and I chose to become entrepreneur by myself. There have been days we could not afford to buy food in the house. So I had to make do with whatever I have. So I have a son and who's 25 years old now, and we keep talking about this. So when Dean Graziosi was relating to one of his stories as a kid when he didn't have food in his house and he has to go and knock the doors of the neighbor to get food, I cried literally because I went through the same thing when I was an entrepreneur. There were days we didn't have much to eat at the table. So this is what I wanted to share. Some mentors, some virtual mentors will share a lot of stories with you. And this is why your story matters. Storytelling is very, very powerful. There's also John Maxwell, who teaches you intentional leadership, intentional servant leadership. When you listen to a man of 80 years old plus, and when he talks with emotions. He makes you understand a lot about yourself. So this is why I tell you, don't listen to only one. Go for a few and listen to them. Grab as much as you can to better yourself and keep learning all the way. Keep learning and keep learning, keep going. I don't know, Jeshna, do you have something else to ask?
Thank you so much,
I think it's
Karuna.
Jeshna.
Yes, it's Geshna. And actually, Geshna was a fellow of the AfriTech Fellowship and she had a mentor. But maybe, I don't know, maybe she wants more mentors. And I think there's nothing like too much mentors or too little. So I think it's a
Yes.
great question, Geshna, to know how where we can find mentors because sometimes people don't really know how to approach it. So I think it's a really good question. Thank you, Geshna. So does anyone
Maybe
else have
Anne-Gaëlle,
a question?
maybe
Yes, go
Anne-Gaëlle
ahead.
offline, I can give you a name of someone who can really give you mentors,
Yes.
and who can even
Okay.
put you on some programs of mentoring where Keshna can help, her friend or
Yes,
even
sure.
for herself.
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
I will,
yeah.
if you can send it to
Yes,
us, and then I
yes,
will share it
definitely.
with the AfriTech Fellowship as well, but also with Geshna and
Definitely.
Priscilla Irana if you want us to send you a follow-up email. But I will send a follow-up email to share Karuna's LinkedIn as well, so that you can connect with her
Yes,
and ask her more
for
questions if you
sure.
need to. So we have a comment from Geshna saying, "Thank you so, so much. It was such an insightful session and you're very inspiring." And
Thank
it's
you.
true. You're very inspiring, Karuna,
Thank
and thank
you.
you so much for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So before,
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to young ladies.
and it's a pleasure for us to
And you're
hear
doing a
from your
great job.
experience.
I've got so many stories you won't believe. In Toastmasters, I keep telling my stories and they all look at me like with wide mouth, like, huh, is it true? I said, I'm not lying, it's true.
So, is there, I know we are at time, so I will be closing the meeting soon. Is there any last comments that anyone would have? Maybe you, Karuna, or Geshna, if you would like to share.
I'll wait for Geshna if she has something to say, or I don't know.
No, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been a really insightful session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Geshna. I have just one advice to give all the young women is embrace failures.
Mm-mm.
It's part of your path. Do not be scared of it. It's part of your success. Embrace failures. Do not be shy. Stay curious. Ask questions. Seek out. Look after your health. And the month, like Anne-Gaëlle said, the month of May is going to be mental health. Please look after your health, because without a good health, we will not be able to function. And keep learning. These are a few points that I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Karuna, and thank you for all of us for joining us on this episode of AfriTech Connect tonight. And we hope today's discussion on inclusive leadership and mentorship has inspired you all. And if you missed the last episode, I invite you to watch it on our YouTube channel, which is called AfriTech Fellowship. And if you would like to watch all of the other sessions, stay tuned on our social media platforms to learn more and join us for more empowering conversations. Until next time, keep innovating and embracing the spirit of exploration. Thank you so much. Bye.